Hey, I'm Ash Soan. Welcome to my windmill studio. I've been playing drums all my life. I moved to London when I was 21 and I was very fortunate to move in the same street as Pino Palladino. He helped me a lot with just playing and his sort of approach to the business. And then in '94, he put me up for a Scottish band called Delamitri. And that's really where my journey started from that point, really. I toured with them for 3.5 years, did a record with them. But that started my whole journey into sessions. That producer, Mark Freegard, he then got me to do another session. And then sessions slowly but surely started to come from that. And over the years, I've met many people along the road and the relationships that I established with people in the early 90s still exist now, and I still work with those people. And it still is building, it's great. You know, the business is still certainly alive and well now. Yeah, so some of the artists I've worked for on their records are Adele, Seal, James Morrison, Robbie Williams, Billy Idol, Celine Dion, Ronan Keating, Boyzone, yeah, a few. Most of the James Morrison stuff that I played on, James's music sort of sums up my playing the most in some respects. My playing and my sound that I'm most comfortable with. It's kind of soulful but rocky and poppy at the same time, and the sound is it's kind of, in a lot of instances, quite an organic, natural sounding kit. The first big one, of course, was Broken Strings. That was a biggie. I guess that at the time was the biggest song I'd have played on. The Adele track, of course, that will never change now. That's happened, and that was a big one on a much bigger scale, obviously, around the world to play on that. And there's other things like, you know, the fact that I play with Jeff Lorber, who's a smooth jazz artist, you know, with Paul Jackson Jr. and people. And yet I played on Billy Idol's last album, which is a completely different ballgame. And so, you know, left Jeff Lorber here, Billy Idol here, and I've been very fortunate enough to play on some soundtracks, you know, for movies. So I played on the Terminator Genesis soundtrack, and Kung Fu Panda 3 I played on for Hans Zimmer and Lorne Balfe. When you start your career out, you obviously have an idea of what you're going to be and where you'd like to be, rather. I just wanted to be in a band when I started, like everybody does, and I did that, and then session work just opened up for me somehow. I was never pigeonholed properly, thankfully, and I'm really glad about that. One of the things that I got from Pino really is that, well, if you're a musician, you just play music. You can play all sorts of music, it's fine, you know. And I always thought it was fine. You can be into hip hop and The Who, as Pino demonstrates quite well, you know, being in D'Angelo and playing for The Who. And I think he sounds great in both of those scenarios. So early on, it was fine for me to play all different sorts of genres of music and be influenced by all sorts of different stuff. And it certainly helped in my session work, being able to sort of tap into something that a producer might be thinking of, oh, this one's kind of rocky, but it's kind of got like a Brazilian vibe. That's the sort of things people will say to you, you know. It's like punky, but Steely Dan. Okay, you know, I mean, honestly, they're the sort of things that some people do say, and you've got to sort of try and articulate that on your instrument. And that's one of the most fun bits about this business for me, is to try and get it right, you know, try and find a part for someone or a sound for someone that they're looking for. This room and what's going on in here for me is one of the most exciting bits of my career so far, really. You know, with the advent of the gear that people are using and the fact that you can get a very pro setup for a reasonable amount of money, that's enabling people like myself to set up places like this and offer a proper pro service to people. You know, I've played on some pretty big records, I guess, with big producers and in big studios. And now there are some pretty big records happening from here. You know, I've had #1s from here, and the stuff that I've played in here has been up for Grammys and things. It's like, the thought of that 10 years ago was, people would laugh at you. What, you mean you've got a little room, you do your drums there and you're up for a Grammy? That is just unheard of, you know. But now it's totally possible, and that's really exciting for me.